Hey folks, come on here, come on! At your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very well. Here's my friend. He's just flown in. He landed on the roof. With Fly Girl. It's Flyboy, Stephen from Dawn of the Dead, played by David Emge. WGON. He's the whiz kid Flyboy, you know, from the TV studio, which is on the verge of complete collapse as the world is plunged into zombified anarchy. He and Fran, played by Galen Ross, with two SWAT team troopers, Peter, Ken Faree, Roger, Scott H. Reiniger, fly off to the Monroeville shopping mall and A Date with Destiny. George Romero's epic zombie masterpiece, Dawn of the Dead from 1978. Whichever version of it you watch, it's still an absolute undisputed classic of the genre. And here is the gong. You know, the zombies marauding around the shopping mall. They're playful, they're figures of fun, of caricature, and yet, if you get cornered by them, as old Stephen finds out when he gets trapped in that elevator, going down, certainly, and they put the bite on him, and then after a few hours he returns and leads the marauding zombies who've now regained control of the big shopping mall that the four survivors had so brilliantly and painstakingly and bloodily made their own little empire out of, until those pesky bikers, you know, force their way in and like just completely turn everything on its arse all over again. But yeah, David Emge wearing Tom Savini's makeup there, the big bite on the neck, the very gory sort of lopsided face, his eyes looking completely skew with. It is one of my favourite zombies ever. I did a little video on my top iconic zombies, and he's up there without a doubt. He may not go and kill anyone, but he does lead all the other zombies to where the last remaining survivors, his friends, are, because he knows he's, you know, some kind of memory. Because he even says to Fran, you know, why did he come here? You know, it's just some kind of memory. You know, it's this place meant a lot to them. You know. Let's just turn that out of it. Trick or Treat Studios produced this mask. Rich, what's his name? Rich Crucell sculpted this, and it is absolutely fantastic. I know it is because I've just rewatched Dawn of the Dead. And yeah, this arrived before, and I loved it right away. I've got loads of books and pictures and imagery of Stephen and the entire movie, obviously. But I thought, no, I want to see him in action. So I went and watched it all over again. Oh, come on. It is an unparalleled work of celluloid carnage genius. And this guy. The thing is, I don't know how well you're going to pick this up in the lighting here and on this screen, but I've seen no one else review this mask at all. I'm not saying people haven't reviewed it, I just haven't seen anyone do it. I've looked on YouTube, I haven't found any other reviews. I've looked on certain sites, and no one seems to have a picture of it either. But I can tell you folks that I am absolutely blown away by this. I'm not like, oh my god, he's singing their praises again, Trick or Treat, oh god, he's always doing this. Well, it's not screen accurate, I want to change this. No! It is screen accurate. I've just bloody watched it. Yeah, you've got, maybe you could have the parting slightly differently in the hair. I don't know. The hair colour is spot on. The hair texture is truly amazing. It's silky, it's lovely. And you can tuft it up because his hair does get a bit flouncy and a bit sort of dishevelled after getting pounced on in the elevator, chomped, bitten. He's been shot in the arm as well, so you can play around with the hair and make it a bit more dishevelled, and it does flop down across his fod when he's zombified. Anyway, we all know that Tom Savini did the effects for it, and he wasn't the most accomplished at that time. He was the go-to guy for splatter, without a doubt, but he would become far better in the years after Dawn of the Dead. For the start, he's using the wrong coloured blood. He's using, I think it was 3M blood or something like that. It looks like melted crayons. It's far too garish, far too cartoonic, far too over the top, and the blood does not look like that. And yet, it only adds to that comic book carnival sort of anarchic, over the top atmosphere of Dawn of the Dead. So in that respect, it works perfectly, and you don't care, you don't mind. He's doing makeup for hundreds of zombie extras, so inevitably, that little look of sort of, is it blue or green emulsion? You're not talking little Lucio Fulci here with the real groundbreaking, proper Gianetto de Rossi special effects and makeup on the zombies there, who do look like they have just clawed their way out of the ground. They look ancient and absolutely harished and just so decomposed, whereas these guys in Dawn of the Dead have just stepped out of a catalogue basically and a bit of a whitewash, you know, or a blue wash. But as Savini says, they're meant to be the recently dead. They're not older ones who've clawed out the grave. These are ones who have just died and recently reawoken. And this guy especially, you know, he has just been lying there, bleeding to death in the elevator. Peter stands vigil, and Fran, you know, his bird, who's carrying his child, she knows she's given up on him, you know. Come on, Peter, it's been gone for hours. And Peter's just standing there at the top of the stairwell like a silent sentinel waiting for his friend to come back. A friend that he didn't initially like, because Stephen, of course, is the clumsy, cack-handed one. He can't shoot straight. That janitor zombie down in the boiler room at the mall, and he's missing at point-blank range and then forgets to count how many bullets he's fired, clicks on empty as a zombie's almost upon him. But of course, he does win favour with the rest of the survivors. He can fly a helicopter. He learns about the passageways and the hidden stuff and the gun shop and all that. He learns a lot about the layout of the mall. So he earns his stripes and he becomes an indelible one of the four. Especially after they lose poor Roger, who gets the bite on his leg and the arm. Oh dear. But, so a lot of the zombies that Savini did, the makeup didn't go all the way around. You would see patches where he's missed the makeup around the back of the ear or around the eyes. You'd see it a lot. So maybe we can give Trick or Treat a bit of a get out clause here, because for screen authenticity it's faded a bit here, the colouring, as you can see. Now, is that a little trick of the authenticity to be screen accurate? I'm going to give him that. I'm going to say yeah, because that is how it looks in the movie. Now, some people may go like, well, the colour's a bit wrong on that. Having just watched it, he has got that blue palette to him. And this is a very sort of dark turquoise, sort of ashen turquoise. It's an unusual look. It certainly is a very unusual colour scheme. You've got some shading around, darker patches under the eyes, and those eyes, just there, completely. What's he looking for? Where are you going? He's still waiting for the elevator to come down, you know. The little lopsided mouth, the teeth on show, you know, and obviously all the blood. Now, what I will say is, the blood looks far more realistic on this than it does in the movie. The bite there, for many, many years, that effect where he's leading the other zombies with that absolutely tortured, agonised, pathetic walk of his. He's all over the show. How can he stay on his feet? It's a brilliant performance. And he has the gun, you know, balanced precariously on his finger like that, of his left hand, because he's left-handed, as is Roger, Scott H. Reiniger. Those two are both left-handed. Out of the foursome, you wouldn't only get that kind of thing, would you? You know, but both southpaws. But when he turns around like that and you see that massive, huge, big bite on his throat, that is incredible. For many years I was like, oh, that is just the way it looks like he's really been bitten into. Of course, we know how Savini did the effects. Savini did a lot of, he would create and sculpt and then bake lots of just, he had a big tray full of hundreds of different wounds and bites and scars, and each day he just put a different one on a different zombie, different extra. And for when Stephen gets the bite on it, that bite, he built up all the neck like this, and then he literally carved into this latex appliance and painted some of it black to give it shadow and depth. So when he turns around, you really get the sense that, oh my god, they've really bitten into him. And I think it's one of the best effects in the movie. Just that simple little moment where he turns like that. So maybe perhaps this mangled bit of throat carnage isn't quite as deep. Maybe, I don't know. But it still looks exceptionally juicy and like, and livid. And it does glisten as well, which is great. You have the parchment, like you probably can't see on this right now, but the skin is sort of weathered and very dry and desiccated. It's very wrinkled and lined. But you probably don't pick that up too well right now. The eyes are subtly bloodshot underneath here. That askance look is brilliant, and the face going off onto one side. It's just, it is beautifully done, and they've captured that superbly, I think. It's a nice fitting mask as well. It's not too big. The hair, as I say, is fabulous. I really am impressed with the hair. Very soft, very silky. I've looked at it, and a lot more of the ear is on show. I'm not too sure about any side. You could trim that. You could trim that down, but it's definitely not that bad. And you could sweep that back, and get that sort of. Maybe this side needs a bit more work on it, perhaps. But look, we're forever banging on about masks, and like how you can rehaul them, rehair them, recolour them, and it's getting to be a bit, ridiculous. What's the point? You're just buying someone else's sculpt and creation as a template, as a base, as a foundation to go and do your own stuff on. Of course you can. Of course you can. I'm not denouncing anyone that does do that. You've paid your money. It's your mask. Do what you want with it. You can bowl the motherfucker for all I care. But I think that doesn't need any work other than maybe some trimmage around here, around the ears. But even that, maybe not, because that hair is pretty much spot on, I think. The colour is right, the texture is right. Flyboy has flyaway hair, it's very fine. He's also the one that we do see getting his hair done, in the hairdressing salon in the mall. In that crazy shot where she turns the hairdryer on him, Fran, Galen Ross, and he goes, whoa, like that. Maybe that's how he gets that kind of lopsided jaw. He's not the most monstrous of zombies. He's quite pathetic in many ways. But because he's a character that we grew to love and care about, his eventual fate and demise is just, it's gut-wrenching to see. And we feel it. We felt Roger's loss, and we certainly feel his loss. Especially as he's got an unborn child there. Possibly the future of the human race. He trained Fran to fly the helicopter, so she's the only way that Peter is going to get out of there. And even Peter, he's given up. At the end of the movie, he gives up. He's lost everyone. No, I don't want to go. I really don't. Jesus Christ, Peter! And then at the last minute, after she's going up onto the roof, and then the dawn is beginning, the dawn of the dead, she then, in the original version, she was going to step up and put her head into the rotor blades, which would be the second time we've seen a head erupt on rotor blades in Dawn of the Dead, with that rather freakishly high foreheaded, almost like Boris Karloff Frankenstein monster sort of head enlargement, so we can get whacked off by the rotor blade. Still a great effect though. But that was originally what she was going to do, and they made the head and they filmed it, and apparently it just did not look any good at all. So they go with the happier ending. And of course, to go alongside that, Peter has a change of heart and starts blowing away the zombies all around him, gets out onto the roof just in time to get in the helicopter. Haven't got a lot of fuel, but okay. off we go. But look at this guy. That sculpt is fabulous. It's keeping its shape. Look at it. Those eyes. The eyebrows are painted on. The glue line for the hair is quite thick, but I like the way it's been applied as well. You know, it's flattened down. It's not bunched up. I remember the Trick or Treat's Bub mask, which I think I actually showed you yesterday in my video on the top 10 or top whatever zombies, and I had to do a lot of trimming on that. That's got the fuzzy felt style hair. It's just like, there really shouldn't be that much hair because he's a bit of a slaphead and hasn't got much hair, you know, around his monk's halo anyway. But you've got to work at that. There's not much work to be done. There really isn't. That is anchored down well. It's such a lovely coverage as well. It is not stitched in. It's not. It's just, you know, adhered to the latex. But it's done really well. There's no drop on this. It's beautiful. There's a tour around the back. Maybe I forgot to show you that earlier. You know, it's lovely and feathered and layered. So that time you spent in the salon, it was time well spent, wasn't it? But I like that you can get the hair all messed up, give it a different look there. It looks more sinister there, doesn't he? And of course, once he leads the zombies up there to their hidey hole, their sanctuary, with the fake wall they've built, he knows where it is, and he starts chewing his way into that. And of course the other zombies, all the lead zombies, you know, who we've seen throughout all the movie, will all follow him through. And he gets up the stairs, and then Peter, with what he terms as the super gun, bang, drills him straight away. Big, massive, you know, tomato ketchup explosion around the back of the wall, and it's the end of Stephen. But yeah, because we're playing some of Goblin's music from Dawn of the Dead, some of the Wolf library tracks as well. Sensational score, of course, we all agree. And a sensational movie. I mean, it is, someone termed it once as the Waiting for Godot of gore, which it is, except that the gore definitely arrives, and arrives in welters. But it's such a huge epic. You set aside an afternoon to watch that kind of film. It isn't just a 90-minute, you know, a quick zombie shoot 'em up. It's a social commentary. It's a societal observation. Even though you don't come away thinking, you know, oh well, I've got to know those characters really well and I felt their emotional plight. The more you think about it, the more you do know those characters. You've learned a lot about them, a lot about their framework, a lot about how they interact with each other, and you begin to believe in the bond that they've built up. The initial hostilities and distrust, how they become to work as a unit and become to love and trust each other as best friends who would die for each other. Peter's anguish at hearing Flyboy, who he already thinks he's dead, and he hears the gunshots and he's in the corridor, he doesn't know what to do. He starts punching the walls, he's like, Flyboy! Flyboy! Frustration. In the end, I'll go back to Frank, because clearly you've got no chance. But he still waits because it's destiny. And I love it. I just love that conclusion. I love all the film. I love it. Start to finish, it's just magnificence. And this mask, folks, is also magnificent. Look at it. I tried to find a shirt that would mimic what he wears, and the only shirt that I have which looks anywhere near it is Indiana Jones' shirt from Raiders of the Lost Ark. And this is the Wested replica shirt from Indiana Jones. But I wasn't gonna put any blood all over this though. No. Couldn't be doing that. But yeah, very pleased with that. Look at the wound again. Show you the wound. It's ragged. It's beautiful. That gore dripping down the throat from the mouth. That's brilliant. And I think I've been going on about how the blood looks fake in a lot of the scenes, a lot of the bloodletting in Dawn of the Dead. But actually, when he makes that epic turn and allowing you a peek inside the wound and he turns around, it does look dark, it does look vivid, but it looks more realistic than... Look at the eyes. That's slightly unnerving, isn't it? Hello. Going up. He is awesome. The mouth is sealed inside here. We do have holes in the nostrils, yeah, and obviously we peer out of little holes here. It is a good narrow fit. You know, it's not a big outlandish mask, but a lot of people aren't wearing them as masks anyway. They're wearing them to display, and that is very definitely worthy of display. As I said before, some people are so keen to get their mask and then, right, I must repaint this, I must redo that hair. Why don't you just build your own? You know, if you're buying these things expecting them not to, you know, fit the bill, where'd you get them? It's just the detail here, the expression is absolutely spot on. I spoke to Mad About Horror where I got this from. Big shout out. You've been the dog's bollocks this year, getting stuff to me. Fantastic. And he said that this one hasn't been selling too well. Now there could be a lot of reasons for that. Everyone's spent up buying all the Universal and the Hammer ones. Yeah, and I understand that. This come out, and oh, maybe I'll wait for that one. He is iconic, but he's not that horrific in many ways. You know, to put him alongside Boris Karloff as the monster, Lon Chaney as the Wolfman, you know, people are the Creature from Rat Lagoon, people are rushing to buy them and they're selling up and having to restock them all the time. This guy, no one's shown any interest in it really. But I think he's fabulous. It's just, maybe people look at the, you know, the actual stock shots of him and thinking like, well, it's Stephen from, you know, Dawn of the Dead, but I'm not going to wear that for Halloween. I'm not bothered about that. But when you get it, folks, as the box opened and I saw it, that was Stephen. That is David Emge looking up at me. Now, I'm not just saying this to be like, look, you know, I'm saying that is him. You couldn't get more screen accurate than that. It's a latex mask, folks. It's a mask, but it's done in such a way that it can be displayed. A lot more care and attention is going into these things than we had several years ago. They know that mask collectors are far more discerning and they're looking for fault. They know that, of course they do. That's why the hair is better on these things now, and they're smaller, they're tighter fitting than they ever used to be. The detail is far more accurate, far more vivid, far more convincing. There's a lot less poetic license going into these things. They're doing their damnedest to be what you expect it to be. And I'm totally smitten with this. Out of all the masks that I bought over the last few weeks, this was always one of the, I was always going to get this one. And in fact, there is one more that I want to get hold of as well. But, you know, it's money. Always boils down to that, doesn't it? But I'll work on that, don't you worry. But this is fabulous. It's the only Dawn of the Dead mask I've got. I mean, you can get the pillow with Roger's head on it, which I think looks fabulous as well. I really want to get that. You get the airport zombie, who's also the poster zombie with half his face all mangled up like. What else can you get? You can get the Hare Krishna one as well, which I can tell you now, I'm never going to get that one because I don't find him frightening. I find him pathetic, and I don't really want a mask of, because it just looks like a Hare Krishna. He's not wounded at all. You know, it just looks like a Hare Krishna. So I don't particularly want that, you know, in my collection. Not against Hare Krishna, but just don't find it particularly appealing. This guy, it means a lot. This guy, that sequence is just such an iconic moment, a brilliant little set piece. His demise and his resurrection, the zombies all clawing, you know, at the doors, the elevator, and then inadvertently his hand hits the open door button, and he stands there. The music goes, and you all go, oh, and walk away, and he comes shambling out. The best zombie walk ever. The only one that could come close to it is the Tarman from Return of the Living Dead. The way that he slinks about, that's the only other one which is worth emulating. Everyone can do the zombie shuffle, and of course the Monroeville Mall, or whatever it's called now, Is it called the Monroeville Mall? It is, isn't it? And where they filmed Dawn of the Dead, every year they do like a dead sort of pageant, and everyone does dress up as zombies and does the walk down all the aisles, and looks fantastic. But his is the one. If you're going to do the zombie walk, it's Stephen's that you want to do, because then you've got to put a bit more effort into it. You've got to have your feet turned inwards. You've got to have one arm anchored to your right hip. You've got to have the gun balanced on that pinky, like that. Speaking of guns, folks, another reason why I, as a kid, was so smitten with Dawn of the Dead was because in the UK, I had a cut-down version of the M16 made by an Italian company called Jaeger. And although I did end up getting a full 556 M16 semi-automatic, but the first one I had was a Jaeger A74 22 version of the M16. So it has a fake 556 20-shot magazine, but inside that it has a little 22 20-shot magazine slots inside it. And in Dawn of the Dead, that's what they're using. Roger and Peter, the two SWAT guys, the M16s they're carrying are not M16s, they're A74s. And you see them loads of times with the gun up like that against the shoulder, and you can see the fake magazine and the real 22 magazine inserted inside it. Doesn't matter, but it's just, for me, I was like, I've got that gun as well. They're using my gun. So it's made up, That was in the days when you could actually have guns, in this country, in the UK. Legally, of course, and shoot them at ranges. There he is. Flyboy! Flyboy! Flyboy, how about it this time? Whoopee! And they've managed to seal the door. They've all got together when they first got into the mall. They've killed a few, they've had a bit of hassle, and finally they're allowing Flyboy into their little, macho camaraderie. And Flyboy's got the big, massive leather-bound journal, which has all the plans of the mall, all the air ducts and everything, where all the stores are, all the gates, everything is listed in there. Keys to the kingdom, basically. And he picks it up and he's going bang, bang, bang on these big glass doors to try and bring the zombies there so they can get around the other side. But of course, how about it? It's working. If he smashes that bloody glass with that, Flyboy, you've done it again! Duh. It's wonderful. I'm going to put it on again. There you go, folks. Trick or treats. Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead. Sculpted by, I forgot his name again, Rich Crucell. Rich, doing well, my friend. So there you go. I have been, and always shall be, Kiltman. Always at your service. So please, guys and gals and ghouls, take it easy. Be happy, be healthy. Keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. So, in the meantime, and that gore-drenched in-between time, just be yourselves. Take it easy. I'm going to see you all. Later. I'm not too sure of this thing. I'll just ride pickup.